Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak, sitting next to Mike Brenner. This is the NBA Odds Couple Show for Thursday, May 5th, and we just have one game tonight, Miami and Toronto. We're going to be joined by Jordan Sharp to get his thoughts later on.
Good.
Last night, Mike Brenner and I went head-to-head. I had the Hawks, he had the Cavs, and
wow, it was
that
ugly.
one wasn't close, was it?
It got ugly early, and it stayed ugly early.
Damn. Well, Mike Brenner, here, you get a handshake for that.
Hey, buddy, anybody's hand gets shaken after they beat the bookie and take the bookie's money. That's all I care about. But last night, I even tweeted out, I said, look, they're not even going to let up in the second half. I said, they're going to keep the pedal to the metal. And
although the Hawks did cover the second half.
Yeah, they did, but I was only concerned, Pete, about my -7, which that ended up, they won the game by 25. But hey, it's not about
cash.
Well, they're focused, and I told you yesterday when I get that locker room banner, and LeBron said the first game, hey, we made too many mistakes.
But I mean, you know what it reminded me of? Like the first half scores like 74-38. Now, when I was younger, I never actually told you this, but I used to ball a little bit. I played in New York City, and I played
a point guard out there.
Yeah, no, I played in the citywide league, and we played the Gauchos. You ever heard of the Gauchos?
I haven't heard of the Gauchos.
Team. Gauchos. Kemba Walker was on the Gauchos, right? So we played them. They beat us. I remember the score. It was like 82-17 or 92-17.
My God.
And it was, but it made sense. But and
how many of those 17 did you get, Pistol Pete?
I think I got 5. I got 5.
You drained a couple.
They beat us 82-17, but it made sense because they were the Gauchos and we were us. How can you have like an NBA game though with that kind of score? What happened last night?
What happened last night was exactly what I said was going to happen if they got focused and got healthy and they got over this personal shit. And they have. I'm telling you, LeBron James, he just does a great job at motivating each player, no matter if they get along or not. He lets them know, look, we're on the same court, we're a team. Kevin Love comes to life with it, Irving. And I told you, Kyrie Irving is going to take off. And look at J.R. Smith. They hit 18 three-pointers in the first half, set the NBA record, nailed 25 three-pointers for the game.
How does one NBA team
they're that
blow
good.
out another playoff team?
Well, look what happened in Oklahoma and San Antonio that one game. That was a disaster.
Right.
But this Atlanta team, I'm telling you, I just don't think they're the same team from last year. They're missing DeMarre Carroll, and Atlanta is so much has Cleveland in their head. They're renting all that space in their head is what it is.
I know.
And they can't get over it, bro. It's over. That series is done.
Even if it was the Sixers, how do you get blown out by 40 points in the first
All
half?
I know, I'm going to pan that board because accountability
congratulations
is everything
on that
to
great
me.
call, Mike Brenner, and congratulations to all Mike Brenner's followers who were presumably
again,
on that side as well.
Never gloat, just try to do the hard work. And had that bad slump, had a lot of bloggers stuck with me, and we've now hit 13 out of 14, with including one of my power picks. So that's 159 and 140. Moving it up, 53% went 2-0 last night, had the half in the game. Pistol Pete, he took the losing end last night, 93 and 110, still at 46.
I thought the Hawks were a good bet.
Hey, guess what?
I thought I had a winner. Plus 7.5. What do you want me to say?
They are who they thought they are. Now, I got news for you. Hey, Guan White, A.J. Shaw, Frank Swerve, Glenn Middleton, these guys, Getta, Ray, I'm not kidding you. A.B. Lent, Ray. These are some great bloggers. This one guy says to me, he says, hey, I never left you, Mike. Don't worry. I knew you were going to bounce back. And then I got Ohio State 2003, the guy that I pissed off for who knows what reason. He keeps pounding me. I ought to pull what's that guy's name, Bosa? Joey Bosa on his ass and just take him down. But no, Ohio State 2003, stick with me during the playoffs. I'm going to bank you some money.
All right, so we got Miami-Toronto game 2. Now, this is kind of a classic situation that you see a lot of times in the NBA playoffs, right? You have a game 1 where you feel like the underdog is a good bet. You know it, you feel confident in it, you bet it, and it does cover. And then you come back game 2 with the exact same line, and your question is to yourself, should I just do it again? Should I just go it again, or is something going to change here? Once again, we have Miami-Toronto, Toronto -4.5. The Greek is hanging 4, and the under in game 1, which basically I nailed except lost for overtime, is now down to 188. The Greek has 188.5.
Yeah, that overtime,
is it just don't think about it and take Miami again, getting the points? What do you think?
No, it's not. It's really not, Pete. I'm just going to tell you, and every team is different. And again, this is just my take, man. Hell, I don't know nothing, and I can prove it sometimes, but sometimes I do. All right, but I love that edge, and I put it all together as far as who's running that team, how old are they. I think what happened is the Heat, all right, they got that win, fought like dogs, even blowing a big lead, all right, came back. Chris Bosh, by the way, huddled that team up and literally said when they went into OT, when the momentum swung, when Lowry hit that 98-footer, he said, look, this is it. This is a fresh game. We got it, boom, boom, boom. And Goran Dragic said that motivated them. They came out, they responded. I think this team gets a little lax. I'm not betting it. I'm not taking a side. But guess where I'm pulling the trigger, Pistol Pete?
First half?
I'm taking the Raptors on the first quarter, -1.5, because Kyle Lowry himself will probably cover this. This kid is so down on himself. He had 7 points, shot like hell, feels like he's letting the team down. I think Miami in the first half, actually, and even the first quarter, takes a deep breath. They know they're going home. They with the advantage. They already took the home court. And I think if Miami pushes and wins, which they could and probably will, it's going to be to the second half towards that end. I don't even want the first half on this. I want the first quarter for them to go, hey, fuck you, Miami. And I think Kyle Lowry straightens out his shit real early today.
Awesome analysis. You check the line. It's -1.5.
It's minus
right?
1.5 across the board. I just went pretty heavy on it. So, and I'm not a Toronto fan, you know that. But when I see a spot and I think they might be able to help me out, this is it. Okay.
Well, look, in the first game, Miami shot 8 for 11 from 3, and Toronto shot 5 for 21 from 3. So presumably that'll normalize.
Yeah.
But Miami also beat them on the boards, though.
They did, and there's something I got to throw out there. And Jordan Sharp, when he joins us, he definitely would appreciate this. And I might not get the name right, but Volusianis, whatever the center, he had 24 the other day. All right, 14 boards and 3 blocks. Quietly led that team. All right, Whiteside got hurt. He banged up his knee, went out, came back, but now he had a day's rest. It's probably sore. He's going to be slow early. So I look to Volusianis, whatever his name is, to own the boards early. Lowry popping from outside. Toronto cover in the first quarter. Minus 1.5, Pistol Pete.
I'm speechless. That's one of the best pieces of analysis I've heard you give in a long time on this show, Mike Brenner.
I like it, and I'm going to cash on that bad boy tonight.
Because this is a tough game for me. I mean, obviously,
I know it is.
My initial leans would be the same as my game 1 leans, which are both correct. Miami plus the points and the under. But I don't know if I'm definitely not. I don't think I'm going to bet either of them. And I'm not sure what I think.
Because D Wade left it all on the floor. He's going to be a little tired early. Gordon Dragic, he can run around like a maniac. I don't know what country he's from, but that guy is just absolutely like a maniac.
All right.
But everybody else, I think, is going to be. So come on, Toronto. Help me this time, Toronto Nation.
We have Mike Brenner's analysis and pick. Let's go to Jordan Sharp to get his insights. Jordan Sharp, this is a classic situation that we see all the time in the NBA playoffs, right? You look at a game 1 line, you feel like you're pretty confident about your analysis, your pick, you bet it, it wins, you have the exact same line for game 2, and you're wondering if you should just do the same thing that you did in game 1. What do you think? You like Miami or Toronto here, Jordan?
Yeah, it's interesting, but I think I'm on the side of Big Mike Brenner here. I think the Toronto Raptors are going to give this one everything they've got. And I don't know about the first quarter, but I think the first half is where I'm actually looking in this one because Toronto, I think, covered every first half of this series during the regular season up until I think only one. I think that one game that was in Miami where Chris Bosh was still playing. So yeah, I'm expecting Kyle Lowry, who has I believe shot less than 40% from the floor this entire playoffs, to finally come out and have a bounce back game. He's an all-star caliber player. He is a very good player. Also, by the way, it is Valanciunas and Goran Dragic is Slovenian.
Thank you, Jordan. I knew you'd straighten that one out for me.
Jordan, do you have any thoughts on possible prop value for tonight's game?
Hell, Kyle Lowry, probably.
Well, I don't know if I'm going that bold tonight. I had a couple of bad losses last night because those damn Hawks didn't show up, and Tristan Thompson didn't play the whole game. I was going right back to the well with him. But tonight, it's one of those things where I want to chase again. I want to chase after Goran Dragic, who had a huge game 1. I think he will be a big factor in this one because he's not a bad defender, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it. So that matchup between him and Lowry, I'm gonna have to check out the lines for that one as well. And I'm not quite sure about the Valanciunas thing from game 1 as well. But like Mike said, Whiteside may be a little banged up, a little sore. He's shown he can play through injuries as well, so that kind of matchup intrigues me as well. I think another guy, though, we have to take a look at in this one is Luol Deng. He did not have a great game 1. I think he could win that matchup, though, with Patrick Patterson, whoever's in there guarding him there at the 4 spot. Really depends on the lineups and what Toronto does, whether they continue to go big or go a little bit smaller. So some of the guys I got my eyes on there, I'm not really quite sure though where I'm going at this one. This is one of those where I'm don't really have any leans going in. I got to wait and see what the lines are coming out here later this afternoon.
Yeah, if I can jump in real quick, I like that analysis also because when we did the first game, all right, I thought Luol Deng would have a huge game. Him and Dragic, I said, would both show up, and Dragic did. Deng struggled, all right? Now, I don't know if it was Patrick Patterson. I think a little of it was physically because he's a big guy. He got him inside. But Luol Deng's the kind of player, if you get into his head and he doesn't produce and other people are taking over, I noticed he stays away. He doesn't try to get aggressive and say, wait a minute, I'm here too. So I kind of look for him to get kind of not beat down, but I look for him to kind of be in the same position as last time.
What do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, well, it's funny because you mentioned it. Joe Johnson had a pretty good game. Luol Deng didn't, and it really all depends on who DeMarre Carroll's guarding because Carroll's a very good defender, but whoever Patrick Patterson's guarding has a mismatch. So I'm not, it really just depends on what those odds are coming out. But Joe Johnson might be another good play on the over, maybe points and rebounds, assist type type prop as well. He had a very, very good game one. Played 42 minutes, though, so I don't know if those veteran knees are going to be able to come back after only a day off here and do that again. But Miami has gone to a very short rotation, which is great for prop wagers on the over for them, especially, and like we've talked about this entire postseason, which Miami you're going to get. You're going to get the Miami that plays a little slower, a little more half court. You get the Miami that pushes the pace. If we get the Miami that pushes the pace tonight, and they're still playing only about a 6-7 man rotation, loving the over on some of these guys' points and rebounds prop, points, rebounds, and assists, just really depends on it. But I think you're right. I think maybe Goran Dragic is another guy who's really going to have to bounce back. As you said it, Hassan Whiteside, Wade might be a little banged up. They're going to need the aggressive Slovenian Goran Dragic here tonight.
You know, and I don't want to get lost in the shuffle here, is Damari Carroll. You know, he hasn't been back that long, 2-3 weeks or whatever. He played 36 minutes last game. He's found his legs. He said he really feels good. That right there, I think, is going to strengthen Toronto for tonight. I mean, I'm telling you, Toronto might even show up and get this win. I'm staying off of that. I'm jumping on the quarter. I might even like the half as well. But I'm going on the quarter, and I like that breakdown. I'm telling you.
All right. I think we got, we really analyzed this one to death. Mike Brenner, great thoughts. Probably a great pick. All right, I'll tell you.
Hey, why not?
Tail of the day. I'll tell you on the first
Pull
quarter,
that trigger, pistol,
minus
Pete.
1.5. And what's your sense? Actually, let me ask you, Jordan, what's your sense on the total? I had a good read on the first game, on the game one total. And do you think we're going to see a similar pace from everyone, and maybe even though the total's down to 188 now, it might again be worth a shot with the under?
Yeah, this one I think I'm laying off because I was going to ask you the same thing, man. I just have no idea what to do with this total. Like we talked about, you don't know quite the pace Miami's going to play. Pace of the game, a game one, I think was 94 possessions per 48 minutes, which is kind of slow. But you have this Miami team that's capable of pushing the pace. The question is whether or not Toronto's going to follow suit, because Toronto's been one of the slowest paced teams in the league this year, all the way throughout the regular season. They really love slowing it down, playing the half court, and we saw it though. The overtime was the only thing that pushed this total over. But if it wasn't for that really low scoring first quarter, I think it was 18-18 at the end of the first quarter, I think the total would have went over in game one without the overtime. So it's very, very questionable of just whether or not these teams are hitting shots. So I think I'm probably laying off the total. If I had to put a lean on any total, I'd probably say maybe over the first half. Come back, maybe bet the under in the second half total, depending on what that number is. But that's but the game total, that 188 number just kind of scares me away from it at this point.
I got to say this real quick, because both of you guys are totals guys. I'm not. And you both sound not sure. You know what? That's a 10-foot pole if I were you two. Get the hell away from that total.
All right. Well, I may have a second half play on this one. Again, I will tweet that out at Loshak on Twitter. And this one, Mike Brenner's carrying everyone on his shoulders with his first quarter pick. I'm tailing it. Probably some of our viewers will tail it. Mike Brenner, thanks for the analysis. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday.
We will. Go Raptors early.